My beloved child, before you go any further, I need you to slow down for just a moment. Do not rush past this. Do not treat this moment as something ordinary. I know how easy it would be to keep moving, to let your attention drift somewhere else, to tell yourself that these words are meant for someone other than you. But I want you to listen carefully because there is a reason your eyes have landed here right now. There is a reason you stopped. There is a reason something inside you felt the urge to stay. And that reason is far deeper than you realize. You have asked questions in the quiet places of your heart, questions you never fully spoke aloud, questions you carried into long nights when sleep would not come easily, questions that followed you through busy days when your mind was occupied but your soul still felt unsettled. You have wondered if anyone truly sees what you are carrying. You have wondered if heaven notices the battles that never make it into conversations. You have wondered if there is meaning behind the things you have been feeling lately, behind the restlessness, behind the weariness, behind the sense that something within you has been trying to get your attention. And now here you are, not by accident, not by coincidence, not because of random timing. My child, there are moments in life that appear ordinary on the surface, but carry a deeper purpose underneath. This is one of those moments. You may think you simply came across these words while moving through your day. You may think this happened because of an algorithm, a recommendation, or a passing curiosity. But I need you to understand something. I have always been able to reach my children through unexpected doors. I have always known how to find you when your heart needed a reminder that you are not alone. Long before you arrived at this moment, I knew exactly where you would be. I knew the thoughts that would fill your mind. I knew the burdens you would carry. I knew the questions you would still be searching to answer. And because I knew, I prepared this moment for you. My child, timing matters more than you realize. There are seasons when you are not ready to hear certain things. There are seasons when your heart is too crowded with noise. There are seasons when pain speaks louder than peace. But there are also moments when heaven gently interrupts the ordinary flow of life because something important needs your attention. This is not an interruption meant to frighten you. It is an interruption born from love. It is the kind of interruption a shepherd makes when he sees one of his sheep wandering toward exhaustion. It is the kind of interruption a loving father makes when he notices something his child cannot yet see. I know that life has been demanding. I know you have been carrying responsibilities, worries, expectations, and emotions that have weighed heavily on you. I know there have been days when you pushed through simply because you felt you had no other choice. Yet even in those moments when you felt unseen, I saw everything, every silent prayer, every hidden tear, every weary sigh, every moment when you smiled on the outside while carrying questions on the inside. Nothing escaped my attention, and that is why I am asking you to stay close for a little longer, because there is something your heart needs to hear. There is something your spirit needs to understand. There is a message hidden beneath the surface of what you have been experiencing, a message that has been quietly waiting for the right moment to reach you. And perhaps that moment is now. Perhaps that is why you feel drawn to keep listening. Perhaps that is why these words feel different from the countless others you have passed by before. My child, do not dismiss what your spirit is sensing. Sometimes the deepest truths arrive softly. Sometimes the most important moments come wrapped in ordinary circumstances. Sometimes what looks like a simple pause becomes a divine appointment that changes the way you see yourself, the way you see your struggles, and the way you see my presence in your life. So breathe for a moment. Let your heart become still. Let the noise settle. You do not need to have all the answers right now. You do not need to understand everything immediately. All I am asking is that you remain open, remain present, remain willing to listen, because there is a reason you are here. There is a reason this moment found you. And before this journey is finished, you will begin to see that I have been closer than you imagined all along. And perhaps as you sit with that thought, another question begins to rise quietly within you. If there is a reason you are here, then why have you been feeling this way for so long? Why has your heart felt so heavy even during moments when everything around you seemed normal? My child, I know the burden you have been carrying. I know it because I have walked beside you through every moment of it. I have seen the exhaustion that others cannot see. I have seen the silent struggle hidden beneath your daily routines. I have seen the emotional fatigue that settles over you when the day is finally over, and there is no longer anything left to distract you from what is happening inside. Many people look at you and assume you are doing well. They see you continuing to move forward. They see you showing up. They see you handling responsibilities. They see you smiling when necessary. But they do not always see the effort it takes for you to keep going. They do not see how tired you have become from carrying concerns that never seem to fully leave your mind. They do not see how often you have pushed your own needs aside because you felt there were more urgent things demanding your attention. They do not see how long you have been trying to stay strong while quietly feeling worn down inside. My child, there is a difference between being physically tired and being deeply exhausted in your soul. Physical rest can help the body recover, but there are burdens that settle in places sleep cannot easily reach. There are worries that follow you into the night. There are disappointments that linger long after the moment has passed. There are unanswered questions that quietly drain your energy day after day. You have carried some of these longer than anyone realizes. You have carried them so long that they have started to feel normal, yet they were never meant to become permanent companions in your life. I know about the hidden pain you rarely speak about, the moments when you wondered if anyone would understand what you were truly feeling, the times when you tried to explain your weariness but could not find the right words, the occasions when you felt guilty for being tired because you believed you should be stronger than this. My child, you do not need to pretend with me. You do not need to hide the reality of your struggle. I already know. I know about the pressure you place on yourself. I know about the expectations you feel responsible to meet. I know about the fear of disappointing others. I know about the quiet sadness that sometimes appears without warning. I know about the emotional weight that comes from caring deeply while receiving little understanding in return. There have been days when you felt like you were carrying everything alone, not because people were absent, but because the deepest parts of your struggle felt difficult to share. Some battles happen in silence. Some tears never fall where others can see them. Some wounds leave no visible mark, yet they still ache. They still affect the way you think, the way you rest, the way you move through your days. And I have seen every one of them. My child, the exhaustion you feel is not weakness. The emotional fatigue you carry is not failure. The heaviness in your heart is not proof that you lack faith. It is evidence that you have been carrying more than you were designed to carry by yourself. For so long you have tried to keep moving despite the weight. For so long you have told yourself to push through one more day, one more challenge, one more disappointment. Yet beneath all of that effort, your heart has been quietly longing for something it cannot fully explain. It has been longing to be understood, longing to be seen, longing to stop pretending that everything is fine. And my beloved child, I want you to know that none of this has escaped my attention. I have been with you through every weary morning, every restless evening, every hidden struggle, every unspoken fear, every moment when your strength felt smaller than the burden you carried. I have seen it all. And even now, as you listen, I am still here, closer than the breath in your lungs, fully aware of the pain you have hidden for so long. And when pain remains for a long time, something else often begins to happen without you even realizing it. The burden is no longer only what you carry. The burden becomes what you start believing about yourself. My child, there are thoughts that have been quietly growing in the shadows of your exhaustion. Thoughts that did not arrive all at once. Thoughts that slipped into your heart little by little through disappointments, delays, unanswered questions, and seasons of uncertainty. At first they sounded harmless. They sounded reasonable. They sounded like simple observations. But over time they became something more powerful. They became beliefs. And some of those beliefs have been shaping the way you see yourself, the way you see your future, and even the way you see me. Perhaps one of those beliefs whispers that you have been forgotten. Not completely abandoned, perhaps, but overlooked. Left behind while others seem to move forward. You have watched doors open for other people while your own prayers appeared to remain unanswered. You have seen blessings arrive in the lives of others while you continued waiting, and slowly a question began to grow inside you. What if everyone else matters more than I do? What if I have somehow been left out? My beloved child, I know that feeling. I know how easily the heart can reach that conclusion when the road becomes long, but that belief has never been the truth. Another voice has been telling you that you are not enough, not successful enough, not strong enough, not talented enough, not worthy enough. You compare yourself to people around you and feel as though you are constantly falling short. You notice your mistakes more than your growth. You remember your failures more than your victories. You replay your weaknesses while ignoring the strength that has carried you through every difficult season. And because of this, you have started treating yourself as if your value depends on your performance, as if you must earn love, as if you must prove your worth before you deserve peace. My child, that is not how I see you. Yet fear has a way of making false beliefs feel true. Fear speaks in familiar voices. Fear repeats the same message until it begins to sound like your own thoughts. Fear tells you that things will never change. Fear tells you that your best days are behind you. Fear tells you that you will always feel this tired, this uncertain, this overwhelmed. Fear convinces you that because something has lasted a long time, it will last forever. But fear is a poor storyteller. It only knows how to predict darkness because it cannot see beyond the present moment. There is also self-doubt, quiet, persistent, difficult to recognize. Self-doubt does not always shout. Often it whispers. It whispers when opportunities appear. It whispers when hope begins to rise. It whispers when healing starts to feel possible. It says, do not expect too much. Do not believe too much. Do not trust too much. You will only be disappointed again. And because you have been hurt before, part of you starts listening. Part of you begins protecting itself by expecting less from life, less from others, less from yourself, and sometimes even less from me. My child, I want you to notice something. These beliefs have been stealing more than your confidence. They have been stealing your peace. They have been draining your strength. They have been adding weight to burdens that were already difficult enough to carry. Every time you believe you are forgotten, your heart grows heavier. Every time you believe you are not enough, your soul becomes more exhausted. Every time fear convinces you that nothing will change, hope struggles to breathe. And yet, through all of this, I have remained beside you. Even during the moments when you questioned your value, even during the moments when you doubted your future, even during the moments when you wondered whether anyone truly saw your pain. I was there, watching, listening, understanding, not condemning you for your doubts, but grieving the lies that have been hurting my beloved child. Because the truth is this, you have been carrying pain, but alongside that pain, you have also been carrying beliefs that were never meant to become part of your identity. And before healing can reach the deepest places of your heart, those hidden beliefs must first be brought into the light where they can no longer quietly control the story you tell yourself. And this is where I need you to look at yourself through different eyes. Not through the eyes of fear, not through the eyes of disappointment, not through the eyes of exhaustion, but through mine. Because what you have been seeing and what I have been seeing are not always the same. My child, when you look at your life, you often focus on what is missing. You see the prayers that have not yet been answered. You see the opportunities that did not unfold the way you hoped. You see the seasons that felt longer than they should have been. You see your mistakes, your weaknesses, your moments of uncertainty. You see the days when you felt discouraged and the nights when you questioned whether you could keep going. But when I look at you, I see something different. I see hidden strength. I see courage that continued walking, even when the road felt heavy. I see faith that survived seasons which would have caused many people to give up. I see resilience growing quietly beneath the surface while you were busy focusing on your struggles. You call it surviving. I call it perseverance. You call it weakness. I call it endurance. You call it falling behind. I call it preparation. My beloved child, there have been moments when you believed you were standing still, yet I saw growth taking place where you could not see it. Growth is not always visible. A tree does not become strong because of what happens above the ground alone. Its strength is built through roots reaching deeper, where no one can applaud the process. In the same way, some of the most important things I have been doing in your life have been happening beneath the surface. While you worried about how little seemed to be changing around you, I was strengthening things within you. While you questioned your progress, I was teaching you patience. While you wrestled with uncertainty, I was developing wisdom. While you felt weak, I was building a dependence on me that would sustain you in ways self-reliance never could. My child, You have underestimated yourself because you have been measuring your life through visible outcomes alone. But I do not measure you the way the world does. I do not measure you by achievements, status, perfection, or constant success. I see the heart that kept showing up despite disappointment. I see the kindness you extended even when you were hurting. I see the compassion you offered while carrying your own burdens. I see every time you chose not to quit. I see every time you held on when giving up would have seemed easier. I see every prayer you whispered through tears. I see every quiet act of faith that nobody else noticed. Nothing has been wasted. Not a single struggle, not a single lesson, not a single season. The parts of yourself you view as broken are often the very places where my grace has been working most deeply. The areas where you feel weakest are often the places where my strength has been quietly sustaining you. You have spent so much time focusing on what you think is wrong with you that you have overlooked what I have been growing within you. My child, there is more strength inside you than you realize. There is more healing taking place than you can currently see. There is more growth happening than your fears are willing to acknowledge. And perhaps what surprises you most is this. I have never looked at you with disappointment. I have never turned away because you struggled. I have never measured you by your worst moments. I see the whole story. I see the battles you fought in silence. I see the victories nobody celebrated. I see the progress hidden beneath the surface. I see the person you are becoming. And when I look at you today, I do not see someone forgotten. I do not see someone failing. I do not see someone who is not enough. I see my beloved child. I see someone who has come farther than they realize. I see someone who has been growing even during seasons they thought were unproductive. I see someone carrying hidden strength that is stronger than fear, stronger than self-doubt, and stronger than the lies that have tried to define them. And that is why my perspective is different. Because where you see weariness, I see endurance. Where you see delay, I see preparation. Where you see weakness, I see unseen growth that is beginning to emerge in ways you never expected. And perhaps this brings you to another question that has lived quietly in your heart for a long time. If I have not forgotten you, if I have been with you through every season, then why has the waiting lasted so long? Why has the answer not arrived sooner? Why has the road felt longer than expected? My beloved child, I understand that question more than you realize. I have heard it whispered through your prayers. I have heard it hidden within your sighs. I have heard it in the moments when hope felt difficult to hold. Waiting can feel confusing when you cannot see what is happening beneath the surface. It can feel frustrating when you only measure progress by what is visible. But I want you to consider something. Every season in creation has a purpose. No farmer places a seed into the ground and expects fruit the next morning. No gardener becomes discouraged because roots are invisible during the early stages of growth. The seed is not failing because it cannot yet be seen. The seed is preparing. The roots are not wasting time because they are hidden. The roots are growing stronger. My child, many of the things I do in your life follow the same pattern. You often focus on what has not happened yet. I focus on what is being built before it happens. You focus on the visible outcome. I focus on the foundation that will sustain it. Because what arrives before its season often cannot survive the weight of what it was meant to become. Think about the roots of a great tree. The larger the tree will become, the deeper the roots must grow first. If growth happened only above the surface, the first strong storm could uproot everything. But when roots are given time to deepen, strength develops where no one can see it. Then, when the season changes, what emerges above the ground can endure, my beloved child. Some of your waiting has not been punishment, it has been preparation. Some of your delays have not been rejection, they have been protection. Some of your unanswered questions have not been signs of my absence. They have been evidence that the process was still unfolding. I know there were moments when you believed nothing was happening. Yet while you were waiting, wisdom was growing, patience was growing, maturity was growing, trust was growing, strength was growing, even your compassion was growing because of what you experienced. You may not have noticed these things because growth often feels slow when you are living through it, but I have watched every step. I have seen every lesson take root. I have seen every difficult season produce something valuable within you. My child, there are seasons of planting, there are seasons of growth, there are seasons of waiting, and there are seasons of harvest. The mistake many people make is assuming that waiting means nothing is happening. Yet some of the most important work occurs during the seasons that appear quiet. Winter may look lifeless, yet preparation for spring is already underway. The seed beneath the soil may seem forgotten, yet life is already moving within it. In the same way, the parts of your story that felt silent were never empty. They were filled with my presence even when you could not see it. They were filled with my work even when you could not measure it. You have not been standing still as long as you think. You have been growing in ways that numbers cannot count and eyes cannot easily detect. And perhaps the greatest truth of all is this: the waiting season was never meant to convince you that I had abandoned you. It was meant to teach you that my faithfulness does not depend on immediate results. It was meant to show you that even when nothing seems to be changing around you, something meaningful can still be growing within you. Because, my beloved child, before fruit appears, roots must deepen. Before harvest comes, seeds must remain in the soil. Before a new season arrives, preparation must be completed. And through every moment of that process, whether you realized it or not, I have been tending the garden of your life with far greater care than you could ever imagine. And as you begin to understand that the waiting season had a purpose, another question naturally follows. If all of this preparation has been taking place beneath the surface, then who are you becoming through it? My child, many people spend their lives focusing only on what they want to receive. Few stop long enough to consider what they are becoming. Yet transformation often matters more than arrival. Because destinations can change circumstances, but character shapes the way you live within those circumstances. There are qualities being formed inside you right now that could not have been developed any other way. They were not created through comfort alone. They were shaped through the process itself. Consider wisdom. Wisdom is not simply knowledge. Wisdom is what grows when experience teaches lessons that books cannot teach. Years ago, there were things you believed without question. There were situations you would have handled differently. There were decisions you would have rushed into without understanding their consequences. But now something has changed. You have learned to pause. You have learned to reflect. You have learned that not every open door should be entered immediately, and not every closed door is a disaster. Wisdom has been quietly developing through every challenge, every disappointment, every unexpected turn in the road. The person you are today sees life differently than the person you once were. That change did not happen overnight. It happened through the process. Then there is resilience. You often underestimate this quality because it does not announce itself loudly. Yet resilience has been growing within you for a very long time. Every difficult season you survived strengthened it. Every setback you endured strengthened it. Every morning you got out of bed despite feeling discouraged strengthened it. You may have thought you were simply enduring hardship, but something deeper was happening. You were learning how to continue moving forward, even when circumstances felt uncertain. You were learning how to remain standing when life did not unfold according to your plans. Resilience is not the absence of struggle. It is the ability to continue through struggle without allowing it to define your identity. My child, patience has also been taking root within you. This is one of the most misunderstood forms of growth. Patience is not passive waiting. It is the quiet strength that allows you to remain steady while the future unfolds one step at a time. Years ago, you may have believed that everything needed to happen immediately. Yet through your journey, you have begun to understand that meaningful things often require time. Deep healing takes time. Lasting growth takes time. Significant change takes time. Patience allows your heart to remain open during the process, instead of becoming hardened by frustration. And then there is compassion. Perhaps this is one of the most beautiful transformations of all. The pain you have experienced has given you a deeper understanding of the struggles of others. Because you know what it feels like to carry hidden burdens, you have become more gentle with people who are hurting. Because you know what it feels like to face uncertainty, you have become more understanding toward those who feel lost. Because you have walked through difficult seasons, your heart has gained a capacity for empathy that cannot be manufactured. Compassion grows when suffering teaches the heart how to care more deeply. My child, these qualities may not always be visible to you because they develop gradually, yet they are real. They are becoming part of who you are. Wisdom, resilience, patience, compassion. These are not temporary emotions. They are foundations. They are strengths that remain long after circumstances change. And while you have spent time wondering when your situation would improve, something remarkable has been happening within you. You have been becoming a person capable of carrying greater peace, greater understanding, greater stability, and greater purpose than before. The process has not merely been shaping your future. It has been shaping you. And the person emerging from this season is stronger, wiser, more patient, and more compassionate than the person who first entered it. And now, after everything you have heard, after everything you have carried, after all the lessons hidden within the waiting and all the growth taking place beneath the surface, you may be wondering what comes next. What should you do now? What step should you take? My child, the answer is not as complicated as you may think. It is not found in striving harder. It is not found in carrying more weight. It is not found in trying to control every outcome or predict every detail of the future. The invitation before you is much simpler, yet far more powerful. It begins with letting go. There are things you have been carrying that no longer belong in your hands. Some of them are fears. Some are disappointments. Some are expectations that have become too heavy for your heart. Some are questions that have consumed your thoughts for far too long. You keep holding them because part of you believes that if you think about them enough, worry about them enough, or analyze them enough, you will eventually find peace. Yet peace does not come from tighter control. Peace begins when you release what was never yours to carry alone. My child, there are burdens that become lighter only when they are surrendered. There are wounds that begin healing only when they are no longer constantly reopened. There are seasons that become easier to walk through when you stop demanding immediate answers and start trusting the process that is unfolding one day at a time. This is why I am inviting you to let go. Not because your concerns are unimportant, not because your struggles are insignificant, but because your soul was not created to live under the constant weight of fear. There is also another invitation. Forgive. Perhaps there are people who hurt you. Perhaps there are words you still remember. Perhaps there are disappointments that left scars deeper than anyone knows. Forgiveness does not mean pretending those things never happened. It does not mean calling wrong things right. It means refusing to allow old pain to continue controlling your present life. Every time bitterness remains, it quietly asks for your energy. Every time resentment stays rooted in the heart, it steals room that could be filled with peace. Forgiveness is not always easy. Sometimes it is a process. Sometimes it happens one decision at a time. But every step toward forgiveness creates more space for healing. And then there is surrender. This word is often misunderstood. Many people think surrender means giving up, but true surrender is not defeat. It is trust. It is the decision to stop carrying the future as though it depends entirely on your strength. It is the willingness to place uncertain outcomes into hands greater than your own. It is waking up each day and saying, I do not need to know everything today. I only need enough light for the next step. My child, trust grows in the same way roots grow, quietly, gradually, deeply. Trust is not built because every question has been answered. Trust is built because you choose to keep moving forward even when some questions remain unanswered. It is choosing hope when fear offers easier alternatives. It is choosing faith when certainty is unavailable. It is choosing peace instead of endless striving. You do not need to have perfect confidence. You do not need to have every detail figured out. You do not need to become a different person overnight. The invitation is not perfection. The invitation is willingness. A willingness to release what has been weighing you down. A willingness to forgive what has been holding you back. A willingness to surrender what has been exhausting your heart. A willingness to trust that the process unfolding in your life is not meaningless. Because the next chapter does not begin with more pressure. It begins with a decision. A quiet decision deep within your heart to stop carrying everything alone, to loosen your grip on fear, and to walk forward with a spirit that is becoming lighter, freer, and more open to the peace that has been waiting patiently at the edge of your surrender. And once your hands begin to loosen their grip on fear, once your heart begins to release what it was never meant to carry forever, something beautiful starts to happen. Your attention slowly shifts from what has been behind you to what may be ahead of you, not because every question has been answered, not because every difficulty has disappeared, but because hope begins to make room for possibility again. My child, there are moments in life when the future feels hidden behind a thick fog. You can only see a few steps ahead, and because you cannot see the entire path, you are tempted to assume there is nothing waiting for you beyond the uncertainty. But the inability to see the future does not mean the future is empty. It simply means the story is still unfolding. There are chapters you have not read yet, conversations you have not had yet, opportunities you have not encountered yet, moments of restoration that have not yet arrived. And because they have not arrived, it is easy to believe they do not exist. Yet some of the greatest blessings in life begin as things we cannot yet see. Think about how many times your life has already surprised you. Think about the people you never expected to meet, the lessons you never expected to learn, the doors you never expected to open, the strength you never expected to discover within yourself. If those things could appear in seasons you could not predict, then perhaps there are still possibilities ahead that you cannot imagine today. My child, do not underestimate the power of a new chapter. A chapter does not erase the previous pages. It does not pretend the difficult seasons never happened. Instead, it gives those seasons a new context. It reveals that the story was larger than you realized while you were living through it. There are experiences you once thought would define you forever that now exist only as part of your journey. In the same way, the struggles you face today are not necessarily permanent addresses. They may simply be places you are passing through on your way to somewhere you cannot yet see. Restoration often arrives quietly. It does not always announce itself dramatically. Sometimes restoration begins with renewed strength after a long season of weariness. Sometimes it begins with a fresh perspective. Sometimes it begins with unexpected peace where anxiety once lived. Sometimes it begins with a small opportunity that grows into something meaningful over time. The future is not always changed through one large moment. Often, it changes through a series of small moments that gradually lead you somewhere new. My beloved child, there is also the possibility of breakthrough, not necessarily in the way you once imagined, but in ways that bring greater freedom, greater clarity, and greater peace. Breakthrough can be the moment when old fears lose their power. It can be the moment when your heart no longer feels trapped by the beliefs that once controlled it. It can be the moment when you realize that healing has been happening slowly all along. It can be the moment when you stop measuring your life by what has not happened yet and begin recognizing what is already growing within you. The future ahead of you is not a closed door. It is an unwritten chapter. There are opportunities that have not yet appeared. There are joys you have not yet experienced. There are lessons that will strengthen you and moments that will remind you that difficult seasons do not last forever. You do not need to know every detail of what is coming next in order to move forward with hope. You only need the courage to believe that your story is still being written, because the road ahead is not defined solely by what you have lost. It is also shaped by what can still be restored. It is not limited by what has disappointed you. It is also influenced by opportunities that have not yet arrived. And as this new chapter slowly begins to emerge, you may discover that the future you feared would never improve has been quietly making its way toward you one step at a time. And now, my beloved child, as this moment draws gently toward its close, I do not want you to leave carrying the same weight you had when you arrived. I do not want you to walk away believing that your struggles have been meaningless, your waiting has been wasted, or your story has somehow fallen outside the reach of hope. Instead, I want you to carry something different. I want you to carry peace. Not the kind of peace that comes because every problem has disappeared. Not the kind of peace that depends upon perfect circumstances. But the deeper kind of peace that settles into the heart when you finally understand that your life is not unfolding without purpose. You have traveled through seasons of exhaustion. You have faced silent struggles that few people understood. You have wrestled with doubts, fears, and questions that seem to have no easy answers. There were moments when you felt lost within your own thoughts, moments when the road ahead appeared uncertain, Moments when the weight became so familiar that you almost forgot what it felt like to live without carrying it. Yet here you are, still standing, still moving forward, still searching for truth, still willing to hope, and that matters more than you know. My child, remember what you have learned. The burdens you carried do not define who you are. The lies you believe do not determine your identity. The waiting season was not empty. The process was not pointless. Growth was taking place beneath the surface. Wisdom was forming. Resilience was developing. Patience was deepening. Compassion was expanding. Even when you could not see it, something valuable was being built within you. Remember also that not every delay is denial. Not every closed door is rejection. Not every difficult season is evidence that something has gone wrong. Sometimes roots must deepen before new growth can appear. Sometimes preparation happens quietly before restoration becomes visible. Sometimes the greatest transformations begin where human eyes cannot yet see them. And so as you move forward, I invite you to walk with a lighter heart. Release the need to carry tomorrow before it arrives. Release the pressure to have every answer immediately. Release the belief that you must earn peace through endless striving. Breathe deeply. Rest when you need rest. Trust the process that continues unfolding one day at a time. Let your heart remain open to healing. Let your mind remain open to hope. Let your spirit remain open to possibilities that have not yet appeared. There are still chapters ahead. There are still opportunities waiting to be discovered. There is still restoration unfolding in ways you may not fully understand today. But for now, you do not need to know every detail of what comes next. You only need enough grace for this moment, enough faith for this step, enough peace for today. My beloved child, may your heart become quieter than your fears. May your hope become stronger than your doubts. May your mind find rest from constant striving. May your soul discover renewed strength. May the burdens that have weighed upon you become lighter with each passing day. May healing continue in places you cannot yet see. May wisdom guide your decisions. May patience steady your journey. May compassion enrich your relationships. May peace guard your heart as you move forward into the days ahead. And whenever uncertainty tries to return, remember this simple truth. You are not defined by the season you are passing through. You are being shaped by it. The chapter you are living is not the entire story. The waiting is not the destination. The struggle is not your identity. The process is not your ending. Keep this close to your heart as you continue forward. What is growing within you is greater than what has been weighing upon you. And the peace you carry from this moment can travel with you long after these words have faded into silence.